Chapter 580. Jiang Yage didn't like to think too much about things, but it didn't mean that she was stupid. She just didn't want to spend her mind on things that she didn't care about. For a girl like her, the real strength wasn't the messy reasoning in her mind, but her intuition. She had her intuition first, and then used it as a starting point to deduce all the way. Only then did she completely confirm the fact that Chen Yu was Chen Guang's impersonation. In this regard, Jin Shuriwa wasn't as good as her. In fact, it was quite a mess. The safest place for Chen Guang to change was, of course, in the second private room, but Sister Hua wasn't in the mood to wait for him. She finished his makeup, threw him a bottle of makeup remover, and left quickly. After coming out of Tianhan No. 1, Chen Guang didn't think too much. He just wanted to change back into men's clothes as soon as possible. As for why he chose the women's restroom, cough, cough, cough. Those who understood. Unfortunately, there was no one inside, but he didn't feel regretful. Instead, he went into the stall and quickly changed his clothes. High-end clubs like Nua didn't focus on customer flow. The employees also had their own restroom. This public restroom was sparsely populated, so Chen Guang wasn't worried about being seen outside. He heard the door open halfway, but he didn't think much of it. People would leave when they came in to use the restroom. By the time he finished removing his makeup, the person would have already left. Sure enough, after a while, he heard the door open again. The person should have left. He didn't know that this was Jiang Yage's careful disguise. Finally, he removed most of the makeup on his face. Then, he stuffed the wig and unisex shirt into his bag and carefully checked the front camera of his phone. There was no sign of makeup on his face. He smiled with satisfaction and was ready to leave this damn place. He listened carefully for about 10 seconds, and when he was sure that there was no one else in the women's restroom, he opened the door boldly. Just as he was about to walk out, he was shocked by a certain person who was looking at him with her hands on her hips and a sneer. He shook his head, thinking that he was hallucinating. Then he narrowed his eyes and opened them again. The person was still there, looking at him with deep meaning in her eyes. Chen Guang took a step back, then closed the door with a backhand. Impossible. This was impossible. This was an illusion. It must be an illusion. I must have opened the door the wrong way. I'll be fine if I do it again. Then, he carefully opened the door a little bit. Jiang Yage, who had been blocking the door with her hands on her hips, was already standing at the edge of the door. She tilted her head and stared at him meaningfully with her big eyes. This was not a dream, nor was it an illusion. This was King real. Stop hiding. You're not dreaming. We were afraid of death and reaped the bitter fruits of our own actions, becoming a sinner. Now, 20 years have passed. We have been treading on thin ice, trembling with fear. Finally, we have achieved something. The martial artists want to stir up trouble and stir up the society. Today, if we give in again, we will not have the face to meet the heroic martyrs in the underworld. We will fight to the death with our half-crippled bodies. We do not seek longevity, but we seek a clear conscience. This opening clearly told Chen Guang the anger and murderous intent that these old men had been suppressing for a long time. Chen Guang laughed. You didn't disappoint me after all. Tianguang plan? Good, very good. Individual military exercises? This is interesting. No one has reported on our country's individual combat weapons in the forum. I've never seen it. Establishing a new department to replace the Special Affairs Bureau? That's not a bad idea. The special department that could nurture a scumbag like Tseng Yongtai should have been kicked off a long time ago. Chen Guang read on and was secretly pleased. As the eldest disciple of the Thousand Extremities sect, Xian Qin had obviously joined the so-called Tianguang plan. She had sent this top-secret document to him overnight, which meant that she was also a part of the Tianguang plan. Now that he was destined to be enemies with the Poison Sect and the Dark Sect, how could he not be happy that he had found such a powerful backer? Moreover, this Tianguang plan was obviously named after the old man. That was why he was so thick-skinned. The old man's original intention was to push aside the dark clouds to reveal the bright moon, but he had shamelessly used it to his advantage. Wait. The name of this new department. Chen Guang pointed at the 4 words written on the black and white paper on the document with some difficulty. Xin had asked the others the same question before. She rolled her eyes and explained, what they mean is that we shouldn't make too much noise at the beginning. They're going to gradually shut down the Special Affairs Bureau. It's not like they're going to cut them off all at once. That's why they deliberately came up with this name to hide it. Chen Guang broke out in a cold sweat. It's a department-level department after all. Even if it's for the sake of concealment, they can't do this. Isn't this 2F** King shameful? For the sake of concealment, they don't even care about their reputation? Who would be so unlucky as to be this swollen chrysanthemum leader? Light. Fixed. Total. Bureau. Ah. I heard that old man Lin went back and asked his grandson. His grandson said that you would definitely like this name, so it was decided. That's none of my business. Chen Guang spread his hands and continued reading. A few seconds later, his face turned ashen. The first swollen chrysanthemum leader is me, the old man? Xin nodded. Yes.